Hello, everybody. Once again, this is Greg West coming to you from the Road to Freedom's Change, No More Change channel on YouTube and also our podcast on Being Pod and Buzz Sprout. Tonight, we're back again with one of the first people that we had on our podcast, but he hasn't been on the YouTube channel. And anytime you think about recovery, reentry here in the Montgomery County area, this man's name pops up in any conversation we have. You know, it's going to be an honor and a privilege to have him on here. But before we get into our interview, uh, once again, let me explain to you guys what's the premise of this channel. This channel is here to help celebrate our restored and returning citizens who have come home and changed their lives and are doing good things in the community. Not just our restored and returning citizens, but also the people that help them, the people that have counseled, that help counsel them, the people who have given them the push that they need and everything. Because it's time for us to change our narrative and help change the stigma of what people think that, once that, we are convicted of a felon, that our lives are over, because that cycles down into the thinking of the restored citizen, and we need to give them hope to let them know that there is a way out and there are people that are doing things. This channel is brought to you and it helps sponsors our nonprofit organization, Felons with a Future, which is a reentry program. It's a 12-week program that we work with restored citizens to work on their thinking as we teach them how to develop a business plan and teach them how to become business owners. If you would like to, donate to help the program and also this channel at the end of the program, at the interview, I will put our PayPal link and everything out there. If not, just keep coming back. And like I always say, if you know somebody who has a story that you think that we need to hear, because there are a lot of us that are out here and are doing good things that we don't get enough credit for, please let us know so we can get a chance to interview them. With that being said, tonight's guest is our friend Quinn Howard. Once again, I'd like to welcome you back to the program, Quinn. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine this evening. Thank you, Greg, for having me, and certainly appreciate the opportunity to share some information and experience with our audience.
Right. You know, for the ones who that might have heard you on the podcast, but the ones who have not seen you on our YouTube channel, give us a little background about who you are and what do you do over at the reentry program for Montgomery County.
Okay. Again, I'm a program coordinator for the Montgomery County Office of Reentry. The Office of Reentry program, we assist men and women who have in who have been involved with the justice system and returning back to the community from the justice system, whether it's federal, state, local, or probation, what have you, and providing them with programs and services um, to help with their successful transition. Um, the primary mission of our office is to reduce recidivism. That's the primary goal, primary focus, and we do that through our AAA philosophy of action, alliance, and accountability. Um, I've been with the office now for 7 years working as a county employee. I have been involved with the County Reentry Initiative since its inception in 2010, when the Office of Reentry first opened in the fall of 2010. It opened under a Second Chance Act grant, which was in partnership with other agencies in the community. And so I came in under Goodwill as the program coordinator for transitional employment program. So Goodwill and a couple other agencies partnered with Montgomery County under that grant. The grant outcomes were successful, and therefore there were other grants that were awarded to Montgomery County, and then ultimately the powers that be, the official folks in the county decided to make the Office of Reentry a line item in the budget and have the office be there permanently. Um, our premier program under the Office of Reentry is our Reentry Career Alliance Academy. Reentry Career Alliance Academy is a 3.5-week program whereby individuals will embark on workshops and training that are facilitated in collaboration with outside partner agencies.
Right.
They'll go through that 3-week program, and then they will continue, get referred for employment and other things.
Right. Because right now we have, one of the things that I do, other than my reentry program, I work with the building trades as far as, the apprenticeship program. And we have one of our students, one of our best students, I like to say, I'm not going to say his name and anything because I don't have his permission, but came through your program. I met him when you had me coming over there and speaking to him. And he's right now, he's in his second year of apprenticeship program, going in his third. And he's one of our better students. So he shows up, Quinn. He does the things that, and he speaks very highly of you and what he learned over at the program. So,
Well, that's excellent. Um, so, and as you stated, there's individuals who I'm going to make a little transition here, Greg, because of some technical things,
okay.
and see if I can I'm going to join in from another device, and hopefully it'll bring me right in. And then if so, we'll be able to continue. Looks like I was hoping I could just join by link. Join, open. I need the ID. Let's see. 821.
Yeah.
Let me pause just a moment. Sorry.
Okay. No problem. No problem. So as we work on these technical issues, like I said, Road to Freedom, No More Chains podcast and the Road to Freedom YouTube channel is dedicated to help break the stigma that, once you have a felony, that your life is over, that, you cannot do any good things. There are a lot of benefits from the programs that he's talking about, and also the program of Felons with a Future that we started and that we're running. Right now, we are starting our 12-week program next Monday. It's a 12-week program. Like I say, the core of it is working on helping us to keep on working on those destructive thought patterns that we had, and also help us heal from the trauma that caused us to go to the life of crime, the trauma that we endured while we were in the life of crime, the trauma that we went through while we were incarcerated, and the trauma that we go through sometimes when we're trying to come back home and integrate into society. And during that 12-week program, we also help them learn how to build a business plan and become business owners. All right, now that Quinn's back in, um, let me mute your other device, or if you can, yeah, that way we won't have that feedback. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, you
All right.
sideways now, man. We ain't sideways no more. There we go. We living a straight life today. We're no longer sideways. But okay, so now that we have you back, and give us a little background about you, Quinn, and what got you into the reentry in the reentry life. I mean, field and all of that.
Well,
your road to freedom. Let's talk a little bit about your road to freedom.
Yeah. So my journey is one of that involved lifestyle of certain behavior. Go back, I was addicted to drugs at one time in my life, and as a result, the behavior and actions to go along with that resulted in some incarceration. A couple of incarcerations, 2 felony convictions, one in the late 90s for a theft of service. And then in the mid 90s, in 1995, I had a drug possession case, or what they said was a delivery of controlled substance. And so I caught a felony conviction on that one and served a year in prison. I returned back to, I was living in Houston, Texas at the time. And I returned back to our community here in Dayton. This is where I'm from, was born and raised here, went to high school, we graduated, went to college locally up at Wilberforce University. And so I returned back here home to where my family is, kids and stuff. And began my journey of redemption and resurrection in my life. So, you know, during those days, you know, returning back to the community, got a felony conviction, you know, pretty much just wondering, okay, what's going to happen with my life? Nobody's going to hire me. You know, going through a lot of the obstacles, challenges, areas that individuals face from having a criminal conviction. And during those times, there were no entry programs. I had to rely on some of my friends and relationships with individuals from church that I was attending, that I do attend. And then also the 12-step recovery community. And so that's where my foundation of staying focused came from. And with that, I began my journey of, you know, getting my life back in order, worked, you know, jobs, ended up going back to school, helping raise my kids, doing work at the community, volunteering, a lot of different things over the years. But, you know, to kind of leapfrog to from that to how I got involved in reentry. Of course, I had the personal experience of having, you know, returned back to the community, but what actually got me involved to do work in this area was a experience that I had after I'd been home for 10 years. This was in 2006. I came back to the community in 96. And I had worked 9 years out of those 10 at one employer. So I was doing, you know, pretty decent for myself. And I applied with another company for a position. The position I applied for, they had filled, but they said, hey, would you be interested in this opportunity for a position that was, you know, less responsibilities, less pay, part-time. I had way more experience than the job required, based on the fact that by this time I had acquired my bachelor's and my first master's degree. I had work experience, worked on one job, 9 out of 10 years management experience, a lot of different things. And long or the short, I got turned down for that job. And not because I didn't have the qualifications, but I got turned down because of my criminal conviction. And so that said to me that there's a real problem here. Because I'd actually, you know, I just didn't take the first no for the answer. So I got with a district manager, called all the way up to a regional manager, and they said, we're sorry, we really appreciate that you've done all these things, but you won't be working for us. And so I said to myself, wow, you know, if I'm going to be treated that way with the skills, experience, education, you know, and all this that I had going for me, then what was it like for an individual that was returning back to the community that may not have the skill sets, may not have the experience, may not have the family support, may not have the community support? What would that individual, what's happening for that individual? So that's how I started getting involved in the community with reentry, sitting in meetings and becoming a part of different initiatives. And so from 2006, and here we are, 2021, I just, stayed involved
Right.
and just it turned into a career for me. I had no idea at the time that it would turn into a career, but I have a passion to help those who have come behind me.
Yeah. And like I was saying at the beginning, at the onset of this interview, anybody that well, I know a lot of the people that I talk to whenever we're talking about reentry, your name comes up a lot, and that's why I say it's important that to have people like you on here so that restored citizens can see, and not only them, but the average citizen who's out there, because a lot of times we know this, the average citizen gets their information misconstrued because they get it from misinformed people, and they don't think that a lot of people are really doing things that once we come home and everything. So I always have to say it's important to have people like us on here talking about that. Now, some of the success stories that you've seen coming through your program, let's talk about some of that. I know we can't mention any names because we don't have any written consent to use their names, but we know there's some people out there that are doing some things, just to help break down some of the stigma. Let's talk about some of the success stories you've seen through some of the men and women who've come through your program.
Well, I'll just name a few because if I
Right.
sit down, I could just go on and on about the different successes of individuals who have come through the reentry program and have turned their lives around. Um, One individual in particular um, served time um, in federal prison. They had a professional licensure because of the nature of the offense. It was, because of the fact that they just got a felony conviction, it forfeited the license for them, their professional license. And I remember having a conversation with this person. This person was someone who had never been engaged with the justice system before, lived any type of, criminal lifestyle or anything. Made a poor choice, and they admitted that. And so um, the individual wasn't really sure what direction their career was going to go or how they would be able to get a career going again. And I made a suggestion to the individual based on some skill sets that I know that this person had, uh, and that they could be a valuable asset in a particular career field, which was in the which is in the you know drug rehabilitation field. So I made the suggestion. They followed up, and that individual is doing really well now. And that's been, I think they came to the program in 2016, and are still to this very day. Here we are 5 years later, and they're still working for that employer. Um, there's another individual who came to the program who has an offense that our community really shuns, or it's not very receptive of the type of offense. And so this individual is again wondering how they would be able to resurrect their lives.
Right.
And they worked a job doing some warehouse labor work for a little while. Um, and this particular individual is very dynamic, great speaker, has a good heart, volunteers, does a lot in the community. Um, and he was interested in getting a CDL. And so made the referral for him for the training program to get the resources. He followed through. He completed the CDO training, and now he's working for a company that he's been with now at least 2 years. It might be going on 3. I can't. I lose track sometimes after a while.
Right. I can understand.
Successes, but that's another individual. I know there's an individual came through the program who had been dealing in drugs most of their entire life, had never worked, came through the program, wanted something different because he wanted to show his son a different way of life. And just kind of fast forward, they started out delivering furniture. They paid attention to the business side of that.
Right.
And so now that individual has their own legit business going. So we have another individual who was a school teacher, made a poor choice, ended up in prison, got out, came to our program. While they were in prison, when they went to prison, their teacher's license was revoked. They got out, they came to the reentry program. And again, we had the conversation. Local community college brought them on to do some tutoring. And after a while of doing that, maybe a year or two, probably a couple of years of that, this individual was lobbied to the state to get their teacher's license reinstated. And because of the community work that they did, because they stayed free from any criminal activity, they showed their worth and value. This person now has regained their teacher's license. Individuals that have going into young lady that I know is now a mother who had lost her children, was in a bad relationship, was abusive, ended up being homeless. Her kids were taken away, and she came to the program and followed through with some things, and she's got her kids back. She's a manager for a fast food chain, I mean, gosh, I can just think of many more, stories. And those are the kinds of things that that must be shared, that we need to, let the community know, because lots of times, most folks in the community believe that, okay, once a criminal, always a criminal, or once a person makes a mistake, there's no redemption. Well, they should have thought about it when they did it. All these other things. And but if given the opportunity, the majority of the individuals that want to turn their life around will.
Right.
And so I've seen it through my experience. Most want it than those that don't. There are more that want it than those that don't. So,
and I've experienced the same thing, in my short stint of, having my, starting the reentry program that me and my team started, but, also coming over there, talking with you. I've noticed that, the majority of them that do get involved with some type of program when they come home, those are the ones that really want it. And we noticed that, the ones that do really want it and get involved with a program when they come home, how their chances of not returning are lower than others. Let's talk about the recidivism rate that you guys have. You know, uh, because we're here in Montgomery County, we can boast something that a lot of people across the state, other counties can't. Like one thing that me and you talked about before, and me and also Commissioner Lieberman have talked about. We set the tone through the state of Ohio about reentry, because we have a really good program here. What is for the ones that get involved with the reentry academy over there? What are the recidivism numbers look like?
So the recidivism numbers for the state of Ohio runs at about 40 some percent, or a little bit, no, excuse me, nationwide, about 40 some, about 30 some for Ohio, a little less than that for Montgomery County. However, for the Office of Reentry, the recidivism rate is only 5%.
So when we're talking about 5%, that means that 5% of the people who get involved go back to prison or
Right. And that means that 95% do
stay
not.
free. Right.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's a good number of individuals. And that's, we're counting those, and there's probably, and it's maybe higher, based on the fact that there are others that may not ever, get involved with our program, that may not end up going back to, prison. But we can measure with our program the number of those individuals that have touched, whose lives we have touched.
Right.
That only 5% of them have ended up in the justice system.
Those are some impressive numbers. And what would you attribute to having numbers like that, Quinn?
Well, the collaborative effort of the involves partners in the community. So when you have a holistic approach,
Right.
of different various partners in the community that bring to the table the different resources that their agencies or organizations provide, and they are open and willing to assist in this initiative, it means a lot. I want to say that. I want to say also too, having a team and a staff, starting from the higher ups, trickling down to my supervisor, and then our team of coordinators and other folks, that when you have people of influence that are in support of the office, and and what our goals and what our mission and what we're doing and serving those individuals, that means a lot. And then I want to also say the participants,
Right.
the participants themselves, and their commitment, dedication, desire, um, willingness to, do something different, change, the way that, they've probably been doing things, looking for just that opportunity and giving that chance, and taking advantage of that opportunity when it's placed in their hands. And they are the real key. They're the real key, because without them turning it around, then and being involved in turning lives around, then of course, our office basically wouldn't exist.
Right.
So they are the key, and I have to say, when I talk about the staff, the team, and one of the things that we are, I don't want to say prideful, but I want to say that we are open and dedicated in a way that makes the person feel like they belong, that they are part of when they come to the office. The welcoming, um, you know, how you treat someone will determine a lot of times
Reception, yeah.
Yeah. How they'll turn, be a part of their, how they'll receive what it is that you have to offer, how they will participate, those kinds of things, And one of the things we always like to say to our participants when they come is welcome home, welcome home. Um, that's a big part of of what we do. When you can, and I, pre-COVID, uh, in the pre-COVID days when we were meeting at the training center, um, we make coffee and and have some refreshments. And so when our participants come in, and they feel like, wow, this is an inviting atmosphere. And so, yeah, so, yeah, they love the fact that we've got presenters and, and the possibility of getting a job and all that. But, you know, a lot of them talk about when they complete the program, all the other things are good, but it's the atmosphere and the love and the compassion that they get when they come in the door. And that means a lot. You never know how meaningful a cup of coffee is to someone who's just trying to figure out, hey man, what's how I'm going to make my next move.
Right.
So yeah.
I talk with a lot of people, and one of the things that like what making me think about the inviting thing that you're talking about, just something small as a cup of coffee and a refreshment. Um, I talk with some other people and some of the things that some of the other agencies that I'm partnering with, and you probably also you guys are probably all partnering with, are simple things like when the restored citizen gets out, just meeting them at the gate and having a little, a bag with them with some clothes and stuff like that. People don't realize. See, like we get this misconception. Me and my mentor, I had him on here. He's Southwest. He works for the Ohio Department of Corrections. He's Southwest. Director of recovery services and mental health and stuff. With my SAP, he was on here a few months ago. And one thing that we talk about is like, we see on TV, all the movies and everything, they make it seem like a lot of people get visitors all the time. Like every time you see a jail show or a jail movie or a prison movie, you see them in the waiting room and it looks like, in the visiting room and gives the perception that a lot of people get visitors. What a lot of people don't realize is that majority of people in prison don't get any visitors and stuff like that. And then they don't even have a support system when they get home. So just that inviting thing right there, like we were talking about, is important. Um,
Just to tap into that just for a hot second, because when I was in prison, I was hundreds of miles away, almost 1,000 miles away, in Texas. So I didn't get any visits. But there's a little statistic, and I don't have the exact numbers, but I do know that that's true. Like everybody's not getting all these robust visits, but men get more visitation than females. And so that has some impact on the how those individuals I guess socially, mentally, what have you, for them, and what they have to go through to get through the time that they're doing. But yeah, it's a little bit more um, women have a little bit more time with that. And you know, I know it because they say it. I actually am also an adjunct instructor where I teach inside the the female prison facility here locally in Dayton, and I teach for our local community college. And so when I'm engaging with them, that's one of the things that they have said. And then there's also been studies and there's data that substantiates that men actually get more visitation than the women do. And that's, impactful because most times women are the care providers for their children and families. And so, yeah, so it's a interesting dynamic when we look at that. So I just wanted to mention that.
Right. Well, staying on that topic, Quinn, I know you see it a lot, and I'm learning. The more I'm dealing with this field and everything, that women face a different, I don't want to say different because, well, it is different. They face some different challenges that men do when they come home. And when we talk about reentry, the first thing that always pops into everybody's mind are the male segment of people. Now, coming home right now, we have a large segment of women. What challenges do you find, difficult, not difficult, but, that helping them, readjust and some of the things that they need that are more important to their needs of reintegrating into society than dealing with the men?
Well, let me put this throw this in there. One of the the Office of Reentry has 6 subcommittees. Legal subcommittee, employment subcommittee, supportive services, which has since changed its name, its title, public education subcommittee, housing subcommittee, and women in reentry subcommittee. And the women in reentry subcommittee was the last subcommittee that was, put into the reentry council some years ago to address the needs and barriers and obstacles and challenges that women face that are, get involved with the justice system and returning back. I think based on some of the conversations and so forth is that, I think the biggest issue for them is, that challenge of, being that care provider for their children and families and being removed from that and then having to reestablish that family relationship, both legally, possibly legally, and or just trying to reestablish it just to build that reunification with children. That's one of the biggest ones. And then some of the other challenges that they all face with housing, the employment, making sure that they've got those resources to take care of themselves, and a lot of the things that they just they're going to face based on the hierarchy of the society that we have, that unfortunately, women faced just even not having background. So going through those challenges, and so when you put criminal history on top of that, it impacts it that even much more. So
Yeah. It's important to understand, man, that we got an uphill battle, but it's doable, and we have people like you and other people who are doing it. Helping people understand that it's a doable thing. Now, early on in the interview, you were talking about, the importance of having, a support network, from your church and from the 12-step community and other people that believe in you and everything like that. How often do you find that, trying to help the paradigm with some of these restored citizens to understand that, it's important for them to change from the negative people that they hang with. Because, you know, like I know for me, one of the reasons why I didn't come home and I didn't, I ended up getting back into the lifestyle and everything, because I had this misconception that, you know, I can't abandon my hood. I can't leave the homies alone. These been the people who love me all the time. And you know, I wasn't looking at the fact that when I was doing that time, I wasn't getting no letters from them. You know, I wasn't looking, you know, I just had this misconception about, you know, I gotta stay down for the homies, you know. So how often do you you know, dealing with that paradigm with trying to help change that paradigm with men and women that come home, what are some of the challenges that you find, you know, trying to break through that mindset with them?
Well, let me share it this way. Um, you know, it takes a while to change a lifetime of behavior. Um, you know, it's not going to you know, as much as we would like to believe
Right.
or think, we do a great job. We have evidence of that, other programs as well, but it takes a while to change lifestyle behavior and thinking, even after going through a 3.5, 4 week program or other programs and whatever links that they links of those programs are. You know, the what I always share, because you know participants ask me, well, what's Quinn? Well, what did you do? How did you do that? I said, well, number one, I hooked up my behavior to my consequences. The behavior to the consequences. What is that for me? What was that for me? Well, it was drugs. I was addicted to drugs. So in order for me not to continue to have the consequences of getting locked up, I had to put my focus on what my primary problem was, and that was drugs. You know, drug addiction. So when I put my efforts and focus, my full attention on my primary problem, then the consequences dissipate.
Right.
You know, and it seems like a simple process, but I let individuals know it's not that simple.
Right.
You have to put things into action. You have to work at that. You have to put it into action. You have to be persistent, consistent. You have to be deliberate. You have to be, vigilant about it. And whatever that is for you. Now I share with them that my issue was drugs.
Right.
But I tell individuals to dig deep down and find out what your primary issue is.
And you know, that's
And
important. Yeah, that's
yeah,
important what you're saying, Quinn. 'Cause a lot of times we I'm speaking as a collective body of restored citizens, because like I couldn't get in touch with that at first, and it was important that, you know, somebody had to challenge me to look at it, because like you said, yours was drugs, and I couldn't even get what that mine was really drugs. I thought mine was, you know, the lifestyle, but it was still drugs in one form or another, you know, because the being in the lifestyle, you know, kept leading me back to places like the county jail, the Monday program, prison, you know, and it took a while, like you said, it's doable. We make it sound simple because we've done it for a while, but it's not always as easy, and having to keep people, the role model thing is what I'm getting at. I mean, and the role model and the mentoring program. I mean, mentoring is what I'm getting at. It's very important for dealing with the people that we deal with. Do do you guys offer anything in the form of mentoring over there at the reentry program?
um, we don't specifically have a mentoring program within there. However, there are organizations out there in the community that we can refer individuals to get that type. I know, one of the things that we do, we partner with uh, Child Support Enforcement Agency, and one of the partners who is over the Fatherhood Initiative, director of the Fatherhood Initiative of Montgomery County. They have programs for those individuals that are returning back and want to reestablish those relationships with kids. So that's and you know that fatherhood parenting thing. So we do that. There is conversation about some 12-step concept for support group for individuals returning back home. So that's something that's kind of in a conversation stage of how that will develop with some agencies. That I think that mentoring is important. I think that there should be something established specifically for those individuals, but there are some variations of different organizations out there that are doing some things that folks can tap into. So, one of the things that we try to do is direct individuals also to agencies that are doing certain things so that, we don't try to do it all ourselves under one roof, because, it's a lot, takes a lot, but we want to make sure that if there's someone's out there doing that, then hey, and that you have that interest, we can get you over to that.
And that's partnership is what I'm learning. Like when we just were at job fair. When was that? Friday? It's funny. It's funny. I knew you before I got into the reentry, but now it seems like I'm bumping into you about once or twice a week in different places now. And everybody say, Quinn. Yeah, I know Quinn. Quinn knows me. We got a good relationship. But like one of the things that I like to always let people know, what we do here, it's all about partnership. We're not, for my point of view with Felons with a Future, we work in conjunction with you, even though, like I say, I believe that it's important that we all work together because, that's the only way the segment of people that we're working for are going to get the most help. And, you were just talking about, working with other agencies and everything. So, just to give a shout out to some of the other agencies, I know you said the Easter Seals and everything like that. Who are some of the other agencies that you guys are partnering with, to help make sure that, our restored citizens have the best chance of succeeding?
Okay. So several, Dare Credit Union, Miami Valley Fair Housing, UMADA, Educational Opportunity Center, Sinclair Community College, Ohio Means Jobs, Montgomery County, the Day Mediation Center. Let's see. NIAT. It does networking with a purpose. Very, very great. Phenomenal. Closed at work. Can't forget about, they've been supportive, been doing a great job. They provide interview attire and also, work attire for job seekers. And they partnered with us, and it's a phenomenal job. And I'm gonna park there for a second. That's one of the highlights of what we do at the Venture Career Alliance Academy Office of Reentry, and is our partnership with them. So all our individuals that come to the program are scheduled to for an appointment with Closed at Work to go get fitted for suit, shirts, tie, and other items. And for them to keep. And I tell you, the transformation, the heightened self-esteem, the enthusiasm that takes place with that activity on that day is just unbelievable. And I've been with those individuals over the years. We go around and we help assist them with getting fitted because, a lot of their team there is volunteers. And so some days they might be short-handed, but we'll go out, myself and others on the office of the team will go by and we'll just kind of help with that. And I tell you, when an individual puts on a nice suit or shirt, and slacks, some shoes, man, and come out and see themselves in the mirror, and I tell you, man, it's just great. And they just, wow, I never thought I could look this good, or I never wore a suit before. And I tell you, and and they've even volunteered to do. Some of them have volunteered over the years and done the fashion show fundraiser as part of Clothes That Works, their fundraising luncheon that they do annually. Didn't get a chance to do it this past fall due to COVID. But the gentlemen over the years have looked forward to it and have called and asked me, are we modeling this year? They just really, really enjoy that, giving back to the community, walk across the runway and getting a chance to network with folks, and folks getting a chance to see them in a different light. So it's just been a wonderful experience to partner with them.
Yeah.
And a lot of other agencies. I know I'm missing somebody, so I'll probably, who I can think of right at the moment.
Yeah, that's a good thing if you got a lot of partners where you might miss somebody. That means that there are a lot of people who are really interested in helping to restore citizen, and everything. And these are the things that the community needs to hear and know, because a lot of times people don't realize that we have programs going on like what you have. They don't realize we have programs going on like what we have over there. They don't realize that there's other organizations that are really trying to help these people, because you one thing I know from my, we talked about it, earlier, and from my own personal experience, if it wasn't for a good support network, because I had all the intentions of changing my life, and a lot of people do, but if I didn't have a good support network, people, there, it would have been a lot. It was already hard, but it would have been a lot harder. So it's good to know that we have a lot of agencies and organizations out here that are really interested in helping, restore citizens. This has been good, Quinn. Anytime I get get you on the show and everything, it's good. Before we get out of here, is there anything that you want to touch on? Because I understand in your personal life that on Martin Luther King Day there was something that that was real, real, real significant that happened, man. Well, let's talk about that for a minute before we get out of here.
Okay, so I was approached probably over a year ago from one of my good friends who is involved in reentry. He does some speaking and stuff out in the community. So about a year ago, he had spoken and he says, hey, he put my name in the hat to be a featured speaker for an MLK event at a church in the local community up in Miami County. And so I said yes, I accepted the offer back. Like I said, it was over a year ago. And so I had kind of radar, and then back in like, hey, don't forget you're our keynote speaker. So long short, the organization invited me to come up to share my experience and be the keynote speaker for the MLK event. And so there was a great event, well received, just a wonderful organization. I'm trying to hold out from saying them because I haven't given, gotten permission. I don't know if I can be doing the shout outs like that, but I'm going to shout out First Presbyterian Church in Troy, Ohio. Thank you. Phenomenal job up there, but spoke about King's vision for beloved community and tying that into how how we receive our returning citizens and helping them be a part of that beloved community. And I didn't know how it was going to go, and as I was trying to tie all that in, but it turned out to be really the feedback I got really really phenomenal, great. As far as the direction that I went with that, so it turned out pretty good. So I was really grateful, and I was glad I could do that. And tied it into. We look at returning citizens, the fact that King had on several occasions had gotten, arrested. Right. And one of the times that he got arrested was in Birmingham. And then he wrote the letter from Birmingham jail. And that letter was actually written 6 months prior to, or let's say April to about 4 or 5 months prior to the March on Washington that year. So he wrote the letter in April. March on Washington was in August of that year, 1963. And so it was kind of ironic. Okay, now that made him a returning citizen by standards of today.
Right.
But I thought that was impactful. So I tried to tie all that in and, and talk about, that. So, yeah. So I really appreciated the opportunity to do that, to speak.
I got a lot out of you. I got a lot out of it. When I find the video, I'm going to share it on this channel so everybody else can get the same impact, hopefully,
Okay.
Quinn, again, I'd like to thank you, man, for coming, spending some time with us, talking about, the importance of what we do. And again, man, like I said, I appreciate you and I thank you, and keep up what you're doing. I can't wait till, I can get back over there in person and talk to the class, because like I said, we've had a few of them come through the trades. I've helped a few of them get in different trades, not just the trade that I'm involved. And I get, the ones that, the ones that we get out of the program that stay, they end up becoming very impactful for the unions that they belong to, and it was just funny. People were asking me where I'm getting these people from. I said, I'm getting them from the same place that you're afraid to go to. They seem to forget that just because a person made a mistake or committed a crime doesn't make them, a hardworking person. And most of the restored citizens who want to change are really hardworking individuals, and they're smart. And we need to start tapping back into that community and give them a chance to change and also impact our community. Because if we've already paid our debt to society, please stop treating us as third-class citizens. In closing, is there anything you'd like to say to the community before we close?
Just again, thank you. And just know that our returning citizens are mothers, fathers, their brothers, sisters, their sons, their daughters. They have faith. They are, they given an opportunity, they'll be taxpayers that help contribute to the bottom line. And and deserve just an opportunity. Let's, if we can open up and that things are a lot better than they used to be. And we really appreciate that. And Greg, you keep doing the good work you're doing. And all of you out there and returning citizens, just know that there is a chance, there's opportunity, you know, and great things can happen for you, and we can all do it collectively. So that's all I have to say. Thank you so much.
Okay, again, I thank you, and I will have in the description and everything where if anybody wants to get in touch with Quinn over at the reentry program, his email will be attached, and you know you can get in touch with him. Also, we like we do at the end of every show, we will have our PayPal and our Cash App information also in the description if you would like to make a donation to help keep this channel, you know, going and everything. If not, just please, you know, spread the word, share this video, like our page, subscribe to it, and get people to understand that, you know, we are still humans, even though we made mistakes, you know, and we are doing some good things out here. And as I always say, if you know somebody, one of your friends and relatives, might be you, who have made a mistake, now you're home and you're doing positive things in the community, please get with us when you can at fellas with a future at gmail.com. Send us, you know, anything that you need to know about us. So, I mean, about the person, so we can get in touch with them and hopefully get their story out there. Because there's a lot of people who have positive stories and they need to be heard so that the community can start believing that the stigma that, you know, it has to end. That we're not career criminals. We are, like Quinn said, we are fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters. We're human beings, and we would like to be treated as such. With that, I'm signing off. And again, I'd like to thank everybody for taking the time to watch this video. And Quinn, I thank you for taking time for this interview.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.